Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company Podcast. I'm Dane Hennen. To my right, Levi Gates.
Pleasure to be here.
To my left, Anthony Fisher.
I am also pleasured to be here, Dane. Thank you.
That is not the beginning I was looking for, but you know what?
We'll take
it.
So,
keep going.
Keep going.
If you're new to the show, this is the Rag Company Podcast. This is where we talk about cars, detailing, our weekends. You know, it's the human side of TRC. Not that we don't do like the human side of all that stuff, but this is where you kind of get to know us better. So
yeah, I guess
this is fun. It's
the ins and outs, right? The inside jokes. There's
how
plenty
the
of
fudge
them.
There's a lot of those.
And speaking of inside jokes, right? I believe that there was a Rag Company podcast discussion member, right, who has named us to a key. I mean, or to the T, I should say, not the key.
He made some starter packs. For those who are familiar with the starter pack memes, these are pretty good.
They were really great. I got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most accurate things I have ever seen because, I mean, really, I thought yours, Dane, was pretty brutal, right? I thought mine was pretty understanding. The only thing that he missed out of Levi's was the amenities, right?
Amenities. HQ amenities.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity. But you know what? There's so much to talk about with those things. You can't fit them all into one image macro. So I get it. I understand.
You're absolutely right.
Trying to pull it up here. Sorry.
I wish we had a picture of it.
We really should have prepared before the show and included
got to give that shout out to Alex Dewar.
Yeah, all right, Alex.
He spent a long time. He did one for Morgan. He did one for Dane. He did one for Anthony, and he did one for myself. So
very accurate and a long-time listener, basically.
You could tell from clues in these things.
Callbacks.
They had not been mentioned recently, and he knew these things. I was like, okay, that's somebody
who really
listens.
He got Morgan on the Starbucks water
to the show.
Yeah. That was great.
that is pretty good.
And if you guys are wondering where the Starbucks water came from, that comes from our friends at Color Lock.
Yeah,
they were here in February. We were doing some videos and stuff, and Lars said, "I'm going to run to Starbucks and get some drinks. What does everybody want?"
Yeah,
and he asked Morgan what she wanted, and she said ice water.
Yeah,
and we were standing next to a water cooler.
Yeah,
and he was like, okay.
Yeah.
He was very confused by that.
No, you don't understand. I want that Starbucks water.
Yeah. So that was
it's the same. It just costs more.
But that he put that in there. That really pushed me. I laughed the hardest.
I like the toilet and Sport Trek reference.
Yeah,
that was
Sport Trek.
Yeah, a picture of a toilet with Sport Trek included.
Yeah,
that was great.
Pretty savage. I really like that.
And then this episode brought to you by whatever's on the table.
Whatever's on the
table.
Quite
literally whatever's on the table.
That's what we did.
Today it's an iPad, but ignore that.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun here.
So please feel free to continue.
Yeah, if you guys want to see them, check them out. Go to the Rag Company Podcast discussion group on Facebook. If you haven't joined yet, please join. It's quickly. I mean, we're almost 2,000 members.
Yeah,
it's true, man.
It's a fun group. It's an active group, and while we like to poke fun, it's all in jest. It's just fun. You can dig at us, and we'll be fine.
I don't think I've ever seen any real conflict in that group, and I appreciate that. There's never really been anybody.
I think we cultivate the kind of attitude that's like, okay, we're bigger than just dealing with these petty squabbles over stuff. So. Yeah, you can move beyond it. So, it's good, and I really encourage anybody listening who's not familiar with it, go check it out.
The other great thing is, Dane, you put a little call out for people to put some weird Craigslist finds.
Yes, I was encouraging some folks to get out there, send us some contributions into the Rag Company Podcast discussion group on Facebook. Send us Craigslist listings, Facebook Marketplace listings of cars that are interesting or unique where you're like, it's in your area though. It's local to you.
So I found this week, I found a Chevy Beretta Z24, a GT Beretta.
Right, it was a GT, yeah.
With 30,000 miles on it.
Amazing.
Strangely
for
low.
$3,000.
Buy it.
And it was
Don't
beautiful.
think about it.
I was I was looking at it and I was like, I would actually drive this. This thing's in really good shape, and it's
you give it the Anthony Civic treatment.
It's the 16-year-old me kind of looking at it that's the kind of I remember going to the.
I would have gotten that.
I remember going to the Chevy dealership, and me and my buddies walking in and drooling over the Z28 SS at that year. And then hopping in the Corvettes because that was the last body.
What year was this? 96. Okay,
it was the last year.
Right, before the C5 came out.
Yeah, so it was C4s with red leather. They
that's right.
They had a white.
the red
I remember
leather.
they had a white, and this was at Roundtree before it was bulldozed.
Yeah.
Remember, that was right over here on Whitewater and Fairview. So we'd go into that dealership because my buddy's dad said, you can buy a car. It's got to be under 18,000 or whatever is what it was.
Must be nice.
So he went shopping, and we were like, we went to the Ford dealership, we went to the Chevy dealer, we went to all these different dealerships.
And this is $96.
This is $1996, and he was looking at 2-door Pontiac Grand Ams.
Nice.
Which, in the hindsight,
he was like, I think these look the best. And we were like, you need to get this Camaro Z28 SS. And he's like, it's $31,000. I can't afford that. My dad gave me a budget trying to get the most bang for the buck. And he was like, I can get the 16-inch wheels with the wider tires, and I can get the GT edition. And
16-inch wheels. My God, they're huge.
Oh, well, remember, they didn't make those, right? They didn't make anything bigger than that. So
remember, guys, 1996.
The only thing that was bigger than that were billet aluminum show car wheels. Like 20s were like, they weren't even that popular. They was like 18s was the
factory 20s weren't a thing, actually. Funny enough, until the Jaguar XKR came out with them
Dane,
in the late 90s, the first gen of the new Jaguar XKs.
I believe Escalade started coming out with 20s in the early 2000s.
Well, that's an SUV, though. But no, actually, look it up. Jaguar XKs were among the first to have 20-inch wheels.
I'm just going to stand this conversation. Now, moving on, so there's some house cleaning, right? So we need to go over some house cleaning.
But anyway, the point was, I look at that, it evokes the 16-year-old self where I'm like, I kind of those Berettas.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of just a weird tingly feeling in the back of my spine.
Remember the Oldsmobile Cutlasses with the door handles on the pillar?
Yes,
and like that from that era too. I always thought those were really cool. The other one I liked,
Oldsmobile Trofeo.
Oh. Well, and then you had the Buick Riata and
but all these other... Riata looked kind of weird.
The Riata was like stumpy looking.
Looked like a thing out of Blade Runner.
It was an ugly car.
It was, but you know me. I also like the last gen Rivieras.
So when we start making a lot of money,
or Cadillac Alante,
when we start selling advertising space here on the podcast. My goal is for us to do some 90s car challenges where we get to go spend some money, buy some of these old beautiful dreams.
We each have like a $500 or $600 budget and have to. This is starting to sound like a Top Gear.
No, how great would that be though?
Now I can absolutely do this, right? I have to store that vehicle here, as Katie would kill me if I brought home another vehicle.
She can't know that
we're using company money. It'll
be stored here. Right? It'll be a studio, a shop car, right?
Yeah,
we'll
hang it from the ceiling.
Needless to say, a purchase from the Rag Company is a responsible choice and contributes to activities such as these.
Your dad's like, why did you guys buy?
He's like, why did you say that?
Honestly,
cars that belong in the junkyard.
Whatever I would buy, I would put the biggest fender flares on that thing I could do. Right, I'd put some insane like 35 mil spacer or something on there, and I would stance out whatever I got. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I would run it until the wheels fall
What we should do is see if we could get Super Chat money. To fund our adventure in these cars.
No.
Don't
speaking and speaking of the Super Chat, actually, so house cleaning, right?
Yes.
We are planning our Ruth's Chris Day here very soon.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so for the folks just tuning in,
if you don't watch the Q&A.
You don't watch the Q&A. So
that's
every Thursday thing, right? And every time we've gotten a super chat, right, where somebody basically donates money to see that their chat gets big and big bold text. We are taking that money and putting that into our lunch fund. And if you guys haven't seen our video where Dane reviews Cracker Barrel, one of our best videos we've ever made.
Well, people actually really like that for some reason.
The great G. Davis,
literally gave us a gift card.
Sent us two $25 gift cards.
He didn't have to do that. That was really kind.
Said, take Dane to Cracker Barrel,
and we did, right? We did, and we filmed it, and so we thought that was fun. So we wanted to do more food reviews. So we thought, what's like the next level of food reviews that we can do? And we could do Ruth's Chris, and so we've had plenty of donations.
Well, again, chain restaurant. One of
chain
Dane's
restaurants.
favorites.
Yeah, it is a chain. So
I'm really not a chain guy.
We're really just trying to figure out a time and day where we can place the order, get all the film equipment set up, and then do our food review.
Do our pickup and
it'll be pretty fun.
Enjoy.
Outside of that, so that's coming soon. We want to do that here before this quarter ends because basically next quarter is when
we'll start the clock again.
Yeah, next quarter is when we start the clock again, and the end of December we'll do something fun. Another restaurant of some sort, another chain.
And for those wondering, we're planning on ordering Morgan's food as well. How she gets it is her own thing.
I'm eating more.
5 days later, she gets very cold.
Well, what we do is we find a Ruth's Chris in her area, which I don't know if they exist, but we order, pay for it, and then tell her go pick it up.
Yeah.
That way she can drive over, have her Ruth's Chris, enjoy it.
Well, I don't know if they have it in well,
that's what I'm saying.
There's probably Ruth's Chris in San Antonio, probably next to the Alamo.
Maybe.
I was just saying, aren't they? Forgive me, Outback. People who live in Texas. I don't remember my geography there very well. Aren't they close to Austin?
They're like 2 hours away from Austin, or an hour and a half away from Austin, I think.
So,
anyway, so go back on track. So, rest of housekeeping this week. So, hopefully, IK sprayers, the new the trigger sprayers, will be back in stock at the beginning of next week. Is what we're shooting for. So everybody's been really patient with that.
We're hoping to see on the end of this week. Hopefully, that's our goal.
Yeah. And then another thing too is that we are now we are now shipping out Gauntlet V2s within orders. So on the Rag Company website, take a look, see if there's any updated photos. Basically, there's a new version of the Gauntlet, which we've basically done another cross section of flared microfiber.
Well, and the reason for that, we're calling it kind of a checkerboard pattern. Internally, we've been referring to it as a Checkmate edition. And the reason for that, Anthony, what are those little cross?
So the lines, so the horizontal lines that we had in there, right? When doing a drag dry method, they would leave behind horizontal
snail trails,
right? And we didn't really like that from a visual perspective, and we thought,
and it only happened when the towel got oversaturated.
Correct.
It's like stripes in a lawn.
And
from a lawnmower.
And we're not sitting here trying to put stripes in car paint. So what we wanted to do was make another cross section. So when during a drag dry method, it creates a nice even surface, basically allowing it to completely pick up. And so that's why we did it. And so
it's a more effective.
It is a more effective.
So like people are really hung up on the V2 thing. It's like it's mostly that was like the big change.
Well,
but
honestly, it was.
If you have a first gen, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, the towel was amazing, and it is.
Turn it the other way and pull that way. You're fine.
If it is the be all end all of drying towels, V2. That much better. Why? Because we innovate here at the Rag Company. It's one of our things. We're always trying to come up with ideas and change stuff and work on stuff.
No, wise friend once said, respect the source.
It's really picky, and sometimes you don't realize that there is a problem there until you've already made it, and you're like, well, I didn't really think about that. And then you think, okay, how can we make it better? And then you come up with an idea, and it works out. So that's been good. So we've got that tackled. Other than that, we are still slowly restocking on things that we've been out of. We're really hoping... Like the pearl weaves can't come soon enough, basically, and we need those as fast as possible. So those are on their way. They're on the water right now. And other than that, though, we've been basically trying to plan more shooting stuff around the studio, get more stuff, more FAQ shot. And then slowly but surely fixing up outside of this wall here. We've had new cabinets installed, new countertops.
We've had a Keurig installed.
We have a Keurig now, which is amazing, and production has gone up because we're all overly caffeinated.
Jimmy's like now a full-on coffee addict.
Which is weird because he said he really didn't drink coffee before, and now
he never drank. He always drank water, and now that the coffee's there, he is legitimately.
So what you're saying is we've caused an unhealthy environment.
Yeah. Even with all the soda that we have and the Pepsi fridge, like he is a coffee fiend. He really is. It is hilarious. Yeah. We're like, Jimmy, going back for cup number 6, huh?
Well, and it's funny because he'll come to me and he'll be like, so I didn't understand the whole like creamer thing, but now that I tried it, I really get it. He's
learning. He's
disgusting.
Learning.
And other people are like, I prefer black coffee. I get that. Like depending on the mood, like I may just take it that way. But there is a video coming out in the not too distant future.
You might just take it that way.
I go ham with some creamer. So
So however you like it, right?
But it's nice the studio finally, like, I felt like the last couple of weeks we've had guys in here working, building stuff, putting stuff together. We're finally to a spot where it's pretty good. Yeah, I think we had all the OmniWall. We installed OmniWall in the control room.
Really helped clean things up with the
ton of OmniWall in the equipment room.
If you're not familiar with that stuff, look it up.
Yeah, OmniWallUSA.com, I believe. Yeah. And so we've had just a ton of other work going on. You guys may have noticed last week we played with the UDOS.
We did a little live stream.
There on our Rag Company Facebook. So we got our UDOS in on Friday, and so we finally got it. We got to play with it. Anthony did the live. You got to use it.
Yeah, you did the
first
demo.
impressions,
the cycles.
right?
Literally right out of the box.
I did, and that was pretty cool, man. So basically, the UDOS, the presentation, right? You get a nice little sleeve on the box. You unbox it, pull it out. There's not a whole lot there, right? You have your pads, you have your machine, you have your backing plate.
So for people who aren't familiar with the UDOS, what is the UDOS?
So the UDOS is a user-determined orbital system. I believe that's what it stands for. And so
definitely close.
You have different settings on this, right? So this machine can be a long throw polisher, it can be a short throw polisher, it can be a sanding polisher, it can be a rotary polisher. It is kind of like an all-in-one. The only thing it doesn't have is forced rotation. But everything else is built right in. So basically, you adjust the collar on this bad boy. You can take it from rotary to sanding to a very short 12 millimeter throw. You can take it to a 15 long throw, and you can take it to a 21 long throw. And basically what this does is it allows you to ultimately have one machine for multiple purposes, right? So if you are laying down some rotary, or if you are needing to remove some serious defects, you have that option, but then you also are able to finish it out as well with the longer throw functions. And so out of the box, like I said, we pulled it out, kind of gave an overview on how the thing actually works with the collar system. It's very, very innovative. It's very intricate too.
There's nothing else quite like it. I know people have talked about trying to create something like that in the past.
I actually have it right here. There we go.
The reason this one is special is because they kind of cracked the code on
LC
how
Power
to
Tools.
change the settings and have it actually be functional. Because there's been some stuff before that tried, but they just couldn't figure out the mechanism. This cracked that code.
Yeah.
So for anybody watching here on the YouTube channel, you can come check this out. But basically, the machine in hand, right? Some people have talked about the weight and the look. How does it feel? How does it look? And so I would say it's roughly maybe a slightly heavier.
Supposedly it's a pound more.
A pound more than a Rupes.
And 21.
I would say you notice it, but it's not bothersome. I would say that
this version is physically smaller than the original prototype that we were shown over a year ago, almost a year and a half.
It was a brick.
2 years ago.
What that was.
We had one of the very first, the prototype brought in by the guys at LC Power Tools, and they showed us this is the actual consumer version, though. This is the final product. What people can actually buy now.
Super comfortable. I will say that the rubber grip, the rubber head at the top is really nice. I think all the touch points are nice. I think some areas could probably use some more rubberization down the road. But overall, though, I don't really have any complaints with the way that this thing feels in the hand. I think the only thing that I'm not a fan of is the dial. It's got the very small dial on it. That kind of just reminds me of a Porter cable.
Well, we're spoiled now with the big
click
dial that actually has a nice click feel to it.
And remembering this is the first attempt at a tool. Granted, this is from people who spent a ton of time around other tools, so they're really familiar with how this stuff's supposed to work.
And this is built from scratch. This
is not some piggyback design or something. This is
brought it to market in under probably 36 months. Which is pretty insane.
Honestly.
Overall, man, I really liked it. Pulling it out of the box, I think people are able to see that this thing isn't just some big wobbly machine. It does rotate, it does turn. The backing plate is super innovative. I love that it keeps the pad cool, especially for when you're working at high speeds, you're working for long periods of time.
It's got NACA ducts in it.
It does. And so what's amazing is that this is basically going to prevent that delamination of your pads, right? Of the hook and loop from the foam.
Pop that off by chance?
So I got
the backing plate off?
Yeah.
No, it's screwed on.
It's screwed on.
So I used it this weekend, and I got about 4 hours seat time behind it.
So you got a lot more time.
Did a two-step on a BMW X5. And I will say one of the things that's amazing is how cool the pads stayed. That the tool would be hot. You'd grab that ring. It'd be you could feel the heat. It wasn't like burning hot.
But the metal's going to conduct the heat a little differently.
Because the head was, working and doing its stuff. And I'd touch the surface of the pad and it'd be very cool compared to normal situations when I'm polishing a car.
That was something.
If I overheat the pad, I end up completely delaminating the pad or dissolving the foam and ripping the foam and leaving the backing. I've had that happen before. So to have this literally stay cool, that backing plate is something else. And if you think about it, we sell Lake Country backing plates. What they're good at is pads. and backing plates. That's one thing that they're very well versed in. So to build the ultimate backing plate, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's an awesome backing plate.
You know, and if anybody could figure it out, it should be them because that's what they're known for, right?
For old school guys who aren't familiar, cool is the way it's done now. Cool is what you want because you get more cut when it stays cool.
What people don't understand is how much heat is generated, especially when you use a foam pad. Foam pads generate more heat than wool, than microfiber, and so even though you're using foam, you create a very quick heat generation, and that is where you can damage paint and clear coat. And so to keep your pads cool not only extends the life of them, but also helps the surface that you're working on. So that was really impressive. That was probably one of the things that surprised me the most. I will say from my perspective, it's a little, I felt that extra pound.
Okay. You feel it
in my arms, in my elbows.
Well, that's the thing. We don't want to seem like we're biased about this stuff. We actually will tell you what our real experience was. What I loved was
being able to shift on the fly, so to speak, hit a rotor, to click over to rotary, bust out a scratch real quick.
You don't gonna have to go hunt down another tool and plug it in and
I just stopped, and I still had the pad, and it wasn't cutting the scratch out. I put a little more product on, clicked it over into rotary, knocked that scratch right out, and then clicked it back over into 15, finished out that section a little better with that same product, and then when I came around with the polishing step, I didn't need to worry because I'd already, used it in that second to knock that out.
So like on a pros and cons list, where are you at with that?
So pros, I love the versatility of it. The versatility, the backing plate is second to none. And the UDOS pads specifically, I love the UDOS pads. I've been testing the UDOS pads on my Rupes 15 Mark II, and I love those pads. Yeah. And that's a pad I want to bring on here.
So they're just good pads, period.
They're good pads. Yeah. They have an active rebound or active, I think it's active rebound.
So it's like shock absorption?
It's kind of like a memory foam. So it comes back faster when you push the pad down.
Gotcha.
It rebounds quicker. So the pad stays in contact with the surface. So I really like the pads. I really like the backing plate. I love the adjustability of changing the different tooling. Click wheel, the speed setting wheel, it's too small. And I noticed that when I'd be working, my hand would actually brush against it and turn the speed down.
That could be annoying,
it needs a guard or something by it.
No, that makes sense. This is all stuff you can do
just to kind of prevent your skin from touching it, and it's just, it was this part of my hand that would grab it. But the weight, the biggest thing for me is, 6 years ago when I was detailing every day, I probably wouldn't have felt the weight.
Yeah, your state of your joints and everything are different now than they were back then.
And when I was slinging a rotary every day, this is a huge improvement over, an old DeWalt or an old Makita.
Sure.
So when I had my buffing muscles, as I called them, I had my forearms and I had all those veins and all that kind of stuff popping. That was
the veins.
That's when those I wouldn't feel it. But now that extra pound I felt, and the damage that I have in my arms took a little more of a beating. However,
that makes
there's
sense.
No vibration.
Okay, that was going to be my next question was, the weight, does it help offset some of the vibration?
It does, because when I had my gloves on, and when I finished, after cutting, I took my gloves off, and I could feel my hands kind of tingling. But when I do it with my Mark II and I'm doing a longer polishing session, my hands do stay.
You got that
electrified,
buzz going
that buzz
after a while.
I have that for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. About another hour or so. This was such a faint, light buzz that I was like, oh my God. And then it was gone when I grabbed my towel. I grabbed a towel and I was wiping compound off. And I noticed that when I finished that, I was touching
kind of that feeling like when your leg falls asleep.
Yeah.
And it's
I was touching my fingers. I was like, oh, that went away.
Yeah.
That's okay. Put my gloves back on, started on my polishing step, and was impressed that I didn't have that when I finished polishing either.
And that was after using the DA style.
Yeah, that was 4 hours of running that machine, and I had a very
rotary,
short...
I wouldn't expect much vibration from the rotary setting, but it's the other ones where you have the rock.
Well, and I'd look at it if I did 4 hours with my Rupes and just a standard pad,
which is the gold standard for anti-vibration.
Yeah, I might have a bit of fatigue in my hands for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes afterwards, because it's just the damage. Folks, I have extensive damage in my hands and arms from running machines.
So he is a very real world example of.
To be able to be done and have maybe a 10-minute or 5-minute vibration tingly, I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed by that. Yeah. If it was me, I would say this tool, the guard around the safety and the trigger lock, that is too big because I couldn't engage it sometimes. Gotcha. With my glove on.
Okay, you're talking about the plastic.
The trigger lock on the side. I wish that wasn't so deep.
Okay.
Because it feels like you can't get it all the way in.
It looks pretty recessed,
I would like a guard on the speed
so
wheel.
Basically trade one for the other.
Yeah, I'd kind of lessen one and add another. And then I would, if there's any way to increase the power just a little more. Now, I felt like I was in a car and I was in fourth gear. And I was like, I know you have more. If I only had a fifth gear, I could really do some stuff. That's
you mentioned that, and I was curious about that because during our demo, it seemed like it was extremely torquey.
Runs great.
It's very torquey.
Very powerful.
I would say the rotary wouldn't need to be beefed up. I would say probably the long throw.
Yeah, the rotary is fine. It's just the long throw, I think.
So you were finding the long throw was just like
the rotary, that thing ripped, man.
Yeah, it was when it was in 15 and 21 mode. Gotcha. And again, I was using the UDOS pads with the last cut. Now, we are going to play around with it. We're going to see if we can change some of the pads. We'll use Rupes pads on it. We're going to use Lake Country pads on it. Heck, we're going to use Buff and Shine pads on it. We're going to use a bunch of different types of compounds and polishes.
And just see what stands out.
And I think a lot of it is the paint surface that you're working on.
Yeah.
The pad combination and the product combination that you're using. I think that all enhances how the product, moves on the surface, how the polisher moves and reacts. So it might have been just what I was working on, the BMW paint with the UDOS pad with the last cut causing some of those issues.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that's, you may take it and go, man, I used the Koshemi stuff and I used Rupes pads and I didn't have any of those issues and this thing runs great. Yeah. Wow, okay, perfect. Or Dane, you might try it and go, hey, I use Buff and Shine pads and I use the new Rupes system and I don't have any problems.
Yeah, so and that was something
we don't know.
That was something I kind of wanted to address because when it comes to reviews, obviously there's a lot of YouTube channels out there that do reviews on products and tools and all this kinds of stuff. And a lot of times you'll hear somebody's opinion about it, and it's a well-reasoned opinion. It can come from experience, but at the end of the day, that was that person's experience. And until you get a larger pool of answers, you won't really know for sure where it truly falls if you're going to like it or not. If you like to detail the way Levi likes to detail, and you know how he does it, then you're going to know, oh, okay, I'm going to run into the same issues he did, or I'm going to find the same pros or cons, whatever that is. But if you operate differently, there's no telling how it may work out for you. So it's usually best to get your reviews from somebody that you go, oh, I like to detail the way they like to detail, so it gives you a better sense of what you're looking for. Otherwise, it's just go out and try it for yourself. You're not going to know until you really try it for yourself.
Amen, Dane. So tell us about your weekend.
So what'd you do?
Well, I drove up 8th Street. I just had some fun.
No, you did not.
Did a little off-roading in the taco.
In the taco?
Wow. You got
nothing crazy.
You got some dirt in your taco.
Oh,
Did you take Callie and Liz?
I took the dog.
Nice.
Callie went. Liz was at home, but she was doing drawings and stuff, so she was actually doing her art. But in the case of Callie, she got a fun ride. Just went out, chilled.
Did she ride the back?
She rode in the cab because that's how
weird.
I roll.
Okay.
I know. I'm that guy.
She probably would have enjoyed it more.
I know. She had the window down.
She would have jumped out and ran away.
She would have jumped out and ran away.
She's really good at that.
I tried to explain him that he needs to...
She thinks it's a game.
What you need to do, get her big, huge harness, the kind you ride, right? And then
all those bunches like...
2 leashes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right? And then each leash is connected to one of those tie-down straps on either side of the bed. So she has
She's going to look like a kid at space camp in the 90s.
But she has enough to go to one side, stick her head out the side of the bed.
Yep.
Go to the other side, stick her head over the, but not enough to jump out. And enough to walk back and look at the back of the bed if she wants.
Yep.
That's how I always did it. Because we had a corgi named Leonard when I was a kid.
I mean, a corgi is a much smaller dog.
Always tried to jump out of the back of my dad's pickup.
Those guys can jump, though.
But he would jump, and he would be tethered in. And my dad used to just tie one leash to the back of the truck to keep him in it. But he would jump out of the truck all the time. And we'd be at like McDonald's on a Saturday morning, right? And we're all sitting there, me and my sisters, and we're eating with my dad. And then we look out the window, and there's our dog standing on his hind legs, like literally hanging himself.
Oh, my God.
Feet sitting on the ground, hanging like, and my dad's like, runs out, like picks him back up and puts him in the truck.
You
like,
stupid butt.
Yeah. So that was how Leonard would, he would always do that. So that's where we developed this, we should get another leash.
Yeah,
tie it on. Yeah. So now it's enough to stop him jumping out, but it's enough that he can like walk around the truck bed.
Canine cross
look
brace.
His head out, and he can still enjoy the open air, but he's secured. And he's
That's
safe.
a good idea.
So I did the exact same thing with all my dogs.
Yeah.
Whenever I took them for a ride in a truck, and when I had my little red truck, the little Sonoma, I did that with Watson.
Oh, fun.
Our corgi, 2 leashes. He sat in the back, and he was just like, "This is amazing," but he couldn't jump out. He couldn't get out. He was very excited and happy about that.
Best.
So
no, that's good.
So I'm just saying, try it. 2 leashes. Get her a big harness so that she can't pull out of her neck.
An actual chest harness. Yeah.
That way it doesn't pull out of her head.
Would not want that.
So
she is a large dog.
Yeah.
But no, just went up there. Thought it was fun. It was a beautiful day out. And, it didn't get hot. Like lately, it's been starting to cool down a little bit. Fall's here. I'm excited about that. Love fall. But that was pretty much the extent of it. Just went out for walks.
Express Cafe?
I did not this weekend.
Oh, nice.
No,
took the weekend off.
Yeah, had to give them a break. You know, they see me so often already.
Sunday morning, I was making French toast for my kids, and I thought, I wonder if Dane's at Express. I literally thought that while I was making French toast.
Well, I appreciate the thought, but nope, not this weekend. Laid off. Nothing too crazy otherwise. I just wanted to get out this weekend. Just get outside, enjoy the fresh air that wasn't filled with smoke, and that was really the extent of it. Nothing crazy over here. Otherwise, all I did was come in to work here and edit video because that's what I do. There's a project I can't talk about right now, but I'm just way too excited, so I keep coming back and working on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. It's the way it goes.
Yeah. You don't know that feeling.
I don't know that feeling.
My work ethic is driven by how much I want to see a project succeed, and this is one of those things where it's
you latch on. You have some interest that latches on. You say, "This is something I really want to work hard."
Well, you don't tell me if I'm crazy. Do you feel like it's worth it? Because I feel like it's.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's worth it. I think it's epic.
But it's also the fact that you are untethered. So to speak,
it's definitely
Liz allows you to do what you want to do. She doesn't hound you to be like, Dane, why aren't you home?
Nope.
She lets you do your
please
thing.
Pick me up something on the way home. It's like, okay.
You only have Callie to worry about.
Yep.
The dog. So why not?
You're good.
You know.
Let loose, am I right?
Right.
With the boys. And by the boys, I mean just yourself. But, it could be with the boys.
Oh, boy, that could be misconstrued so bad. At any rate, how about Anthony? What did you get up to? I notice your ride's looking a little different now.
Yep. And so if you're a part of the Ride Company podcast discussion group on Facebook, you've already seen a small sneak peek there on that page. But so my weekend... Friday night, actually, right after work, I had to go over to Nate's house. Next day, Nate, and I had to go borrow some jack stands, some 6-ton jack stands, and his jack.
Big boys.
Right? And borrow those from him because I was tackling a big project, right? And so Friday night, I actually, honestly, I was going to get started, right? But there's that. When you're kind of planning everything in your head, like this is how I'm going to tackle this certain big project, and you're running through everything. You said, I could get started on it tonight, but if I get started on it tonight, I might be too tired, and I might put myself in a situation where I'm messing up or I'm not doing things right.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, Saturday morning, woke up bright and early, dropped Katie off at some winery out in Cuna, and she's like, hey, I'm going to be gone like all day and part of the night. And I said, perfect. I'm doing truck
stuff.
How is
she getting a ride back?
All day. Who cares? Okay. I don't know. She'll figure it out. She's a smart girl. So dropped her and her friends off, right? I said, hey, have fun. And I went back to the house and I said, here we go. I'm installing this rough country leveling kit, right? And my wheels and tires, right? So Saturday morning on the way there, I actually dropped off my new wheels, my Mamba M22 17x9 negative
courtesy
12
of our friends
offset.
Over at Koenig.
Courtesy of my friends over at Koenig. Thank you guys very much.
Very nice, very nice.
Dropped off the Mambas, and for anybody wondering on what I did for tires, right? I'll kind of explain this. I believe it was on Thursday night, right, or on Wednesday. I ended up finding one hell of a deal, right?
Oh, stupid good deal.
2019 Rubicon takeoffs, right?
Yeah.
Literally the wheels themselves.
BF Goodrich, all-terrain KO2s.
Yes, the wheels themselves and KO2s. And a
5 of them.
285 7017. 5 wheels and tires, right?
Yeah, the spare.
With 2 tires had 500 miles on them and the other 3 had 5,000 on them. Got all 5 wheels, all 5 tires for $800. Yeah. And I was like, that's an amazing deal. I can't pass that up, right? Heck, I really just need the tires. And so that's why I bought those. So Saturday morning, dropped off the wheels and tires, the new wheels to my boy Greg over at Discount Tire. He got everything all mocked up for me, everything all done. So by the time I was coming back from the winery, I picked everything up. And that's when I kind of had to hunker down, right? And so here's the problem, guys, and this is the really frustrating part of this entire thing. Everybody I've talked to, I said, I need to install this leveling kit, right? And they go, leveling kit, piece of cake. I could do that blindfolded.
Right.
And I say, really? And they say, yeah, God, 2-hour job, easy. I'm like, well, did you do it yourself? Oh, no, I took it down to the shop. And I said... What? Yeah. No, I'm doing it myself.
You asked me, and I said, I had that done on my Jeep. And you were like, did you do it yourself? And I said, no, I took it to a shop.
He said he had it done.
So a buddy of mine did it.
So everybody I've talked to.
It was easy.
I was even talking to other guys, other people, and they're just like, oh, yeah, leveling kit, super easy. 2-hour job at a shop. And I said, guys, I'm doing this myself. How long? Oh, God, well, I don't know. That sounds more complicated. That sounds more complicated. And so how do I say this?
Honestly, Saturday morning assumed you just took the whole truck over to Discount Tire with your kit.
No.
Said, put all this on because I can't do it. I don't want to do it.
No.
I was like, they'll charge you by the hour, probably about $100 an hour.
I was trying to watch as many videos as I can, right? Believe it or not, there is not one single good video of anybody installing a leveling kit on a second-gen Dodge Ram, right?
How is that possible?
One. And the videos that do exist, and this is going to sound really, really bad, right?
Oh, no.
Let's just say that there are the people that made the videos that were available aren't the people that should be making videos, right?
Let's just say they're not of like your friend All Day Anthony, like his quality level of what a lift kit
it's elitist over here.
So basically,
you should have called him to come over.
You know what these videos were? These videos were of guys, right? In the middle of the night, in the dark, with their
camera,
their cell phone camera, shooting vertically, right, with no light, right, spitting their chew into the spittoon.
So you're trying to see past all the grain in the video to see what's going on.
And they're like, you see this right here, this blah blah blah, and then they said, all right, that's it, and then the next thing it's done, and I'm like, well, you didn't show me anything
I need
on
the
where
in-between
this
steps.
went.
What's going on?
They would even start the intro. I'm going to show you how to install this leveling kit on this Dodge Ram. I'm like, thank God, here it is, right? And then they'd go, yes, you're going to grab that right there, grab that right there. Theirs is already done. And then they say, that's it. You're done. And you're good. And I said, that is not helpful at all whatsoever.
I love those
videos. I'm just thinking, why the hell, like, man, what a missed opportunity for somebody that knows how to use a camera and shoot videos to make an install video on how to do this.
Almost like there's a hole in the market that needs to be filled.
Weird. Someone could have made a bunch of money on this weekend.
And this guy didn't film it.
It's so infuriating because I'm just like, man, if only somebody were able to do this. And I said, don't know anybody, though. So I got started, though, got everything jacked up, started zipping things off. That impact wrench, best thing I've ever bought, paid for itself 10 times over. Yeah. I can't thank that thing enough. So it was a really...
lot of nut-busting torque.
It was. So realistically, the install is straightforward. The hardest part was getting the truck up into the air and having area to work, because even though it's a truck, right, the areas, the jacking points, you have to plan out. If you're jacking up a front axle, right, or if you're on the frame or wherever you're at, you get because of the weight, right, you don't have the car wiggle room you'd normally have.
Right. You set the jack stands, like you lifted the truck up, you set the jack stands on the frame rails.
Correct, frame.
Because then the axles could droop, because you have to compress and drop them to break them free and do stuff.
Correct, right. And without those 6-ton jack stands, I wouldn't have been able to reach that, right? So had to get everything up on the frame and then basically use an additional jack to jack up the actual.
Hey, look at these.
There we go.
Here's a shot here, and this is just me kind of walking around halfway through the process.
That's a finished product there.
I was working on the rears on this particular one, but the fronts themselves, I would say were, I wouldn't say the most difficult, but I would say that spring compressors are some of the scariest, sketchiest freaking thing I have ever used. And so I ended up using the Mcpherson Strut spring compressors, and I had to use the impact to really zip those things on.
One little slip.
It was a very time-consuming process, but basically got those done, and that worked out fine. Got the new springs in. The problem is that even that rough country leveling kit, right? This is my other favorite thing. It came with instructions.
Right.
It came with 1 page of instructions.
Right.
With 2 pictures. Right.
Yeah.
See figure A and see figure B, and I'm like, where is figure C, D, E, F, G?
A is a picture of a guy standing next to a truck saying, figure A, do the thing. And then figure B is, you did the thing. Great job.
Well, figure B is that piece of paper that you're holding.
So
everything.
So
those instructions come with all kinds of stuff. It's always terrible.
The box came with all these bolts and nuts and everything like that, with no instruction on where any of them go.
Yeah.
And I know for most guys working on truck stuff, this is common sense. This is my first time working on the truck, so I'm kind of new to all this. So I call Rough Country and I'm talking to him on the phone, and I'm like, hey man, so there's this extra bag of bolts and there's these washers, there's these rubber grommets, there's all these things. He's like, yeah, I don't think it's supposed to come with any of that. And I said, well, what do you mean? Because this is what's in the kit. Yeah, no, it should just be the spring spacer and that's it. And I said, well, I also have rear blocks. What kit did you buy on here that came with the blocks too? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I bought it off of Amazon. He's like, oh yeah, we do have that one kit. And he's like, okay. Yeah, it's gonna go under the leaf springs, right? Basically,
he just starts making stuff up to make it happy.
His direction that he gave me was more confusing than me going into it in the first place. So, anyway, long story short, got the fronts done, figured it out. That all worked out fine. I got to the rears. The rears were tough because on the rears, you have to basically jack up. You have to get on the frame, jack up the. You don't have to jack up the axle, but you have to jack up the actual leaf springs to lift up high enough to be able to fit your block in there.
Right.
You have to fit the block in. You have to get all the pin all lined up. Then you have to use the extended U-bolts. And so I did rears, blocks. I did rears, struts, new shock absorbers. Right. Fronts were new shock absorbers, and then the spacers. The shock absorbers, that sucked because on one of them I was unbolting the bottom, and then I unbolted the top. And then I was loosening up the bottom. The whole thing swung down, hit me straight in the head.
Yeah.
And that almost knocked me out. I was sitting there like dazed. I was seeing stars for a minute. And but just getting under there, my hands are all tore.
You took a picture, and dude, you had grease up to your elbows.
I was super tore up after I did all that. And it was just uncomfortable, but the impact was great. And then shout out to swivel thing, the little swivel things that go on impacts for a wrench, right?
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Lifesaver. Yeah. That I bought those just for that job. I couldn't have done it without them. So, but overall, man, it was pretty easy. New wheels and tires fit on perfect. I couldn't believe how good it looked. I pulled it out. I got really scared that it wasn't going to be able to pull out of the garage. That was actually
you're like, oh wait, now it's too tall to clear.
That was literally a concern of mine.
So you get all your friends to stand in the bed. And
I have an inch of clearance getting out of the garage.
So no roof basket then.
So no roof basket. But I ended up getting out, and it's funny because Katie got home. She went out and saw it, and she said, oh my God, this looks badass.
She wants to drive it
and
now.
I kind of did the, what? You
because
think that,
she never responds to any of the other stuff you do.
You think that this looks good? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, this is awesome. And she's like, I want these tires for my 4Runner. And I'm like, I have showed you everything on the Civic and everything on the Evo, and you haven't given a crap about those, right? But I show you this old beat up truck, and you're like, that looks awesome. And I say, that makes no sense to me, right? And anyway,
she thinks my tractor's
she thinks my truck's sexy, I guess. And so that all went really well. Basically, did that. That was all day Saturday. It was a huge Saturday project, and it wasn't what would have gone faster is if I had literally just an extra set of hands.
Right.
Nobody that had to know anything, just, hey, hold this here while I bolt this in, or hey, hold this here while I bolt this in.
So that's what I wanted to know. Now that you've had this experience, is it something you would be fine doing again, or would you rather just pay a shop and get it done with it?
No, I could.
No, I'm asking for people out there. Like, even myself. I'm happy with my truck.
Knowing what I know now and knowing the quick workarounds, I could easily do this again as a one-person thing.
Okay.
But really, is
it worth it though? Like, are you really the money, the time? Like, is it worth?
Yeah, is it cheaper to spend to just?
So I'm guessing
to pay
somebody who's listening and wondering,
or Les Schwab or Big O or one of those tire shops to do a leveling kit, than to spend the Saturday that you did.
Yeah.
I think it's then you just drop the truck off, you get it back.
I think and that's up to you, right? I think that when it comes to working on any car project, right, it's a matter of what's your time worth, and are you interested, or are you wanting to learn something? Because I wanted to learn, and that was kind of the reason why I wanted to do it, because I think that like that's just knowledge that it was so out of my realm that I was interested in learning it, and so once I learned it, I think that's all I needed to learn. Yeah. I said I get how truck suspension works now. It's not complicated. It's actually pretty simple, and that was it. I mean, that was leaf springs. I didn't even know.
I was gonna say leaf springs are.
I didn't even know how the hell leaf springs worked until I started working on them.
The easiest.
And I'm like, these are a very.
It's ox cart technology.
Caveman stuff is what this is.
Yeah.
Anyways, worked on that. That's pretty much what I did. Sunday, I ended up I cleaned up the truck, wiped it down a little bit, kind of got all cleaned up. The CSL and EXO are on there. C1. Or the C1 and EXO, my God, man.
The truck's still slick.
It makes that thing so easy to clean. I love it. It's amazing. And I really genuinely think that on that single stage paint, I have no reason why that would wear to the point to where the oxidation would start coming back.
Yeah.
I as long as I keep touching it up, I think that stuff's going to last. Even in the outside elements, I think it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. So was pretty happy about that. So basically, in a nutshell, if you think that installing a leveling kit is easier, if you give people advice on that and you still take your stuff to a shop, don't give that advice, because it really gave my hopes up. I really was expecting that it was going to be easier, and then I realized it's a little bit more difficult.
It's easy if you've already done it before.
Well, and you were in the right spot. Like, you had a Saturday uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And that's really the key. When I tried to do my Jeep, I had a ZJ 93 Grand Cherokee that I had lifted, and I tried to do my spacer lift on my own in my garage, but Hadley was about a year old, and I had her, and trying to take care of her, and my mother-in-law was helping with us, but I couldn't just devote the whole day to do that lift. And I got maybe 2 or 3 hours, and then it was like she was crying, my mother-in-law needed help, I needed to go in there, Carly wanted to run and do certain errands or whatever, and it was just there was other stuff going on. So I just stopped, buttoned it all back up, took it to my buddy's shop and said, I just need you to do this, because I didn't have a full Saturday at that time in my life to be able to devote to that.
Well, Sunday I ended up waking up. I drove over to my parents' house, right, first thing in the morning. Yeah. They came out and saw the truck, and my mom was like, "Oh my God!" And she was like, She's also thought it was badass. She's like, "I'm gonna hop in this thing, right?" My mom's little. She's like 5'3", 5'4".
How long before you had Nerf bars or steps or something?
And she's like, I'm like, "Mom, do you need like a step or anything?" She's like, "No, I got this." She grabs onto the handle, she whips herself up, and she's like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "This is a rig." And I said, I'm like, "Wow." I'm like, "Mom, that's awesome." And
this truck seems to be having an effect on people.
But dude, everybody loves it. Everybody I've talked to about it, they just I tell them I got it for free, and like it's almost like the whole entire discussion changes, right? They go from being like, "Oh, that's a nice truck," to "I got it for free." Wow, that's a free truck. And I say, "Well, it didn't look like that when I got it."
That's the point, though. People are excited when they know like something's possible, and unless they actually see the result, they don't know that a lot of the time.
They were all jacked. My parents, both of them, were just super pumped on the whole thing, and they love the wheels. And everybody's like, "What are these wheels?" And I said, "Mamba wheels, baby. Spread the word. Tell your friends, guys." And so, I did that, and then I went to a movie. Right,
nice.
I went to the actual movie theater.
You went to a theater.
What did you guys go watch?
The Goonies.
Nice.
One of my favorites.
Man.
And
was this like Were they discounting stuff?
So basically what's going on at the movie theaters, at the Majestic, or it's called Cinemark, right? The one that we have here. Mm-hmm. They have this new clean policy thing to where you have to wear your mask inside, right? Until you get to your seat.
Okay.
And after every single screening, they go through and they disinfect with a steamer and some type of propelled spray. I don't know what the heck it is.
Like an aerosol?
It's like an aerosol, but they disinfect everything, so everything is spotless when you walk in. They clean the bathrooms every 30 minutes. No questions asked. They go to the bathrooms, clean everything. There is about 30 hand sanitizer stations throughout the entire theater. So every 10 feet, there's a hand sanitizer thing. But what they did was really cool because since there's no new movies out, they're playing old movies, right? Or some fan favorites. $5 a movie, right? And they cut their snack price and their concessions in half. So a large bucket of popcorn is $5. Large drink is $5. You know, it's much cheaper. And what's really cool though is that we were walking through because we saw the people were watching the Goonies, some people were watching Star Wars, whatever it was. There was all these theaters that were having private screenings. It says private. So we asked about, they said, what's up with all these private screenings? And they said that it's $100 to rent out the entire movie theater.
Yep.
Whatever movie you want to watch from their selection.
Wow.
And so they said you can rent out the 100-person theater, you can rent out the 60-person theater, whatever you want to do, right? They said you basically rent it out, choose whatever the heck you want to watch. And so what was funny is that there was just groups of maybe like a family of 5, right?
Yeah.
Rent out entire theater.
Well,
and they're sitting there.
We don't have a theater room at home, so we're just going to do this instead.
Well,
oh my God!
Think pre-COVID, like it was you and your mom and Liz and your dad and Corey, you know, going to a movie. The 5 of you. That's almost
the last movie we saw in the theater.
It was probably $100
for Call of the Wild because my aunt wanted to watch it. It's like, we'll go see that with you. It's
but
like
5 or 6 of you, it's almost $100.
Yeah, easy.
So. Why not?
With snacks and everything.
Invite some friends and
so one of this family, I guess they cut them a deal. They're having a Star Wars marathon.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
So they were there for the entire day watching all the Star Wars movies on the big screen.
Oh man.
And I'm like, dude, that seems like a lot of fun. So it got me thinking, you know, I was going to talk to Jeff and Carolyn and see if it would be cool, you know, and as an idea to where we have like an October movie day, right? To where maybe like we take an extended lunch or like we get out of work early at a 3 p.m., go and meet at the movie theater and go do kind of like a team building thing where everybody goes and gets like a snack or like a drink ticket, whatever it is, and goes and watch a movie. I thought that'd be kind of fun to do.
That's a great idea.
And, you know,
and granted, there's comfort levels involved. Not everybody necessarily wants it.
No, not everybody has to. But if they want to, just throw out the option and say, hey, you want to go see a free movie? You know, and say, cool, you know, on the clock or on the clock, you know, go see a free movie. I thought that'd be kind of fun. So it kind of gave me that idea. But overall, man, that was pretty much my day. Went back home, worked on some more car stuff, truck stuff, kept cleaning it up and finding more and more fries and things like that in the truck that I didn't know was there before, and going from there. So that was it.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Oh.
I didn't really do much other than detail a car for the whole weekend. No, I did a CSL EXO install.
Oh, nice. Okay.
On my buddy's X5.
Nice.
So he picked up an X5 diesel.
Diesel, fun. Right, man after Aaron Knox's heart.
Yes.
Got to get the D, am I right?
Yep. And so his big thing was I detailed his Lexus last weekend, got it ready for sale. This weekend got to do his X5, get that ready for his wife to drive. But he wanted to make sure it was protected and kind of cleaned up. The dealership hadn't really done a great detail job, so he wanted me to go through it, touch up some spots. He's like, the leather's still kind of dirty in spots, and they left a couple things. So I went through, cleaned everything up, then used the UDOS to polish it all out, and then coated it. So all in, very simple, easy process. Got it all done. Finished it on Sunday. Saturday, but on Saturday we kind of just hung out. We tried to keep this weekend as much as we could as simple and easy as possible.
Sure.
I try to get try and take as much time as we can to relax and enjoy ourselves and do fun stuff with the kids. So we rode bikes, we rode scooters, we did all that kind of stuff. However, the big thing I needed to do, clean out my side yard. So Sunday, when I finished the BMW, I texted my buddy. I finished it at like 11 a.m. Texted him, said, hey, it's ready to go whenever you want to come grab it. He's like, probably by about 3 o'clock. I said, okay then. So I parked it in my grass and then proceeded to start clearing out my side yard, loading up green bean with garbage for a dump run that I need to do. Pulled green bean out, put it on the side of my neighbor's house on the cul-de-sac, parked it in the cul-de-sac. Then hooked up the tent trailer, got it all ready, backed it out. One shot. Parked it all the way into the back of my side yard, got it all the way in, perfectly in the spot I wanted.
Nice.
First time. Could not believe it that I was able to get that thing, just hooked it up, pulled it forward, went right into where it needed to go, and I got out and I was like,
to get squirrely.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Now,
it's meant to be.
I used to be really, really good when I had my detail shop. I had a double axle trailer. I had boats that would come in. I was really good at backing stuff up.
Big trailers are almost easier than small trailers.
Small trailers are much easier. Double axle trailers are much easier.
Yeah.
And I could, with the Suburban, I had no problem, or my 15-passenger van, my big red van, Clifford, I could get it in. I could back anything into any spot, no problem.
Yeah, Dane's really good at backing in, too. Dane actually prefers to back in.
He only backs his car. He doesn't back a trailer.
You think they're joking, but seriously, like everywhere I go, if I have time to back in, I will back in rather than...
But I'm talking about with a trailer on the back.
With a trailer, though, it's a different animal.
Trailer.
The day I tow a trailer with the Jag is the day you know I've lost it.
Anyway, so that would be something I'd actually like to see. Hashtag get Dane's Jag a hitch. So he could do some towing, some V8 towing like the rest of us.
Yeah, join the club, Dane. So we're a bunch of men here, towing things.
But I was proud. I got that thing in, perfectly placed, then went and picked up Green Bean. Pulled it up. Now, Green Bean is he's short. He's 8 feet, a little 8-foot bed, right? So
it's literally a pickup bed.
You turn that wheel just a centimeter, and it will jackknife on you. That's how that little trailer does. But it's so light, you just unhook him, and you can just move around wherever you need to go.
So why not just unhook him and walk?
Yeah, so that's usually what I do, but I had it loaded up with stuff, right? So now I'm like, get up there. I'm like, okay, I hope I get this far. I'm going to get this as far as I can, and then I'll probably try and grab my wife and see if she can help me just push it in the rest of the way. First shot. Backed that in right behind the tent trailer.
Wow.
Could not believe it. Was so proud of myself. I literally ran in the house and was like, Carly, I did it on my own. I got them both in, and I did it the first time, and it was so great. And she was like, that's weird.
I was going to say, is she like, good for you?
She's like, I'm proud of you, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. Then I walk out, and my neighbor's standing there, Rocky, and he goes, that was pretty impressive. You did both those in one try. And I was like, I know I did. I'm so glad you saw it. I am literally like
it's
shaking
one of those
right now. I can't believe I got that.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. This is one of those situations where when you watched King of the Hill as a kid, right? And you're like, this stuff isn't really funny, and I don't see why this stuff is so exciting. And then you get older, and you're like, oh my god, it's true. Yeah, you get really excited about these type of things.
Oh, dude, I was riding high Sunday night. Yeah. When then my buddy showed up to pick up his car, handed me over some cash, cold hard cash. I was like,
good. Man, feels good when it hits your hand.
I got 2 trailers put in the right spot.
Got
a pocket full of cash right here. That was a good weekend. Like I felt good. So this weekend I've got another detail to do. This is an old client of mine. I haven't seen him in 6 years. He reached out and was just like, "Hey man, want to get my car detailed?" I was like, "Oh yeah,
timing.
I will do it." I remember. He had a 3 Series BMW and a Land Rover that were both very clean and easy.
Do you know which one you're ending up with?
I don't know. I think it's a Land Rover this time, but I don't know unless he got something new. So he may have gotten a new car.
Possibility.
But yeah, so I'm going to do his car this weekend. But yeah, other than that, it was a very nice, very simple, very easy weekend.
You know what I was realizing?
Not bad at all.
Speaking of the truck bed trailer, I could fit one of those on my side yard.
You could. We were at your house.
I could literally fit a truck bed trailer on my side yard.
And it'll have some privacy now that your fence has gone up.
Yeah. Is your gate big enough? You have to double swing it?
I need to get I would have to do a double swing, or I'd have to do a 10-foot gate.
Yeah.
But I could easily fit a truck bed trailer back there. Yeah,
right.
Totally.
What I do it?
You need to create a little driveway to it.
You know what I would do, man? I'd put that thing on some Volk T37s. That thing would be absolutely brutal. The one wheel would cost more than the trailer itself.
You find a bed from an old.
I'm serious. Find a bed. Find a truck
from
bed
an old Mazda rotary pickup or like an old Datsun pickup or something low, right?
Yeah.
You put the TE37s on it, you polish it out. You got yourself like a super JDM truck trailer. Like, really.
Okay, so hold on. So I think what I'll do Koenigs. I'll do Koenig like ampliforms or something like that, or some countergrams on the trailer with a polished lip, right?
Yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll get some TE37 like baby like RC wheels and put those on the mower, right? And then lower that thing with the cam. I'll hit some more camber in on those wheels.
I want to see some fender flares on that mower.
Oh my God, I could literally tow the truck bed trailer with the truck, right?
Yeah.
Have the mower in the truck bed trailer and the Grom in the truck bed trailer.
Take that to shows. You would rule them
all. If you do it right, you could also put a hitch on the Civic and tow the truck bed trailer.
That's the point. Tow the truck bed trailer with the Civic. I mean, it's already slow, but imagine how much slower.
There's so many options. It's overwhelming.
You could lower the truck bed trailer to make it a lower trailer.
But it gets even better, right? Because in Idaho, you can tow multiple trailers.
You can. You can have two trailers together.
Get the truck. You tow the Civic on a trailer, and to the Civic, you have another hitch, and that's attached to another trailer. This is all very dangerous.
So
it's very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Smaller the trailers,
another
more
fun
dangerous.
Thing. Katie gave me this idea once, right? She said, "Hey, Anthony, if you were ever to make a YouTube channel, right? And you ever wanted to make YouTube videos, she's like, you have two beautiful dogs that you can do this with." I'm like, okay. And she's like, you know what the names would be? And I said, what is it? She would be Huck in a truck and Baylor in a trailer.
Oh snap!
So what you're saying is you need a picture of the truck and the maybe green bean.
I would love that, dude.
Put your golden boys
trucks
in there.
and trailers, bucks and tape.
Dude,
I almost said it wrong.
Jeez, Dane. Oh my God.
Hucks and Baylors. That's right.
Yeah. So, but if I were to ever make a YouTube channel, who knows, man?
You know, I mean, that's a lot of work. I hear.
But let's just say that when we attached green bean to the back of the old Dodge last week, man, that thing did look good.
Yeah,
it did.
It did look great.
Man, it's just what happens.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up, guys. I don't have anything else for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good, easy little week.
Yeah, so I think we learned some things today. It's been good. And, I can't end any podcast without encouraging you to go and subscribe to all our channels, including the Rag Company FAQ channel. That's right. He's got it pulled up. I had to give him a chance, but there it is. And you can see in the right corner up there, there's a red button that says subscribe. If your button is red and it says subscribe, it means you haven't subscribed yet. So you need to click that button and subscribe to the Rag Company FAQ channel.
Get on it.
And that's how you learn new things when we're not releasing videos on our other channels. But that's where you get the quick, concise, but still detailed answers.
Very nice.
It's very nice. And these guys are on it, of course. Even I pop in from time to time just because contractually obligated, whatever. But anyway, make sure you are subscribed there. You're subscribed here on the Rag Company podcast channel, as well as, of course, the Rag Company main YouTube channel and any other channels you may find along the way. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But, that's really it. Otherwise, we thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until Thursday, this is us saying adios.
See ya.
See ya.